Yay.
Wait. Yay, what it is?
What's up? We got Joe in the cut.
Got your person in the cut.
God damn.
Did I catch you there?
Yeah, we
cool.
lagged.
I thought that was like, yeah, I heard a lag and I was what is happening?
There was a bit of a lag there. Forgive us. You know, the internet is acting up. Welcome back to another episode of SMgowo. My name is Mixo.
My name is Nesipo.
And yeah, another episode, we're back. I hate saying that we're back after like a long time.
Because we're never back.
We're never back, you know.
It hasn't been that long.
It hasn't been that long though, like compared to the last time. But also, you know, you guys must understand, you know, and I know you guys do, because nobody has really come through and been like, you guys need to drop an episode, and thank you very much for that. Obviously, like, you know, we're trying to just get a hang of everything, settling into, you know, the way life is going to be, you know, from here on out. And that takes a lot of time. And, you know, with our new co-host coming up, obviously that's a lot of time and work and energy. It's a lot.
There's a lot.
So, you know, I thank you all for being understanding. Obviously, like, you're free to be like, hey guys, when's the new episode coming out? Like, we're not going to be annoyed with you. Obviously.
First of all, I'm not going to see it, so also, I don't mind. You guys can harass me all you like.
Exactly. She's not on the socials, so it's just like, well, you know, but I definitely don't mind. But yeah, how are you doing?
I'm surviving. Actually, I'm doing better than surviving. I'm well, thank you. Good. Pretty excited. On a countdown to the new host, like a few weeks left. So super excited, but so much to do. Other than that, I'm still looking forward. Oh my gosh, my dog keeps opening the door. I'm still looking forward to the rest of this year, hoping that nothing tragic happens. On your end?
I'm alright. I am sort of like getting back into the swing of my thesis. So I took a really long break, which I shouldn't have, because now that I'm back, I'm so rusty. But you know, it is what it is. But I'm just coming back into my routine, or just establishing a routine. I honestly had no idea that settling down, or is it settling down or settling in it takes so much work and so much time.
It does.
I mean, it obviously the last time I
especially
moved,
if you're being intentional.
Yes, especially if you're being intentional about it. You're so right. I mean, the last time I moved was like 2018, December 2018. So, and even that took me ages, but I think, you know, maybe I just wasn't, I don't want to say I wasn't as intentional. Whereas this time, you know, definitely have been way more intentional, you know, intentionally taking my time and, you know, just baby steps here, you know, here and there, and just, you know, intentionally trying to build a routine, you know, and all of that. So it's been pretty wild, but I'm glad to be back into the thick of things. I hate my job. I hope those who listen... Those who listen and have employed me, or we share an employer, can't hear this. But
they must calm down.
Honestly, it's not that deep.
They must calm down. It's not their parents' house.
Exactly, it's not their parents' house.
It's not their parents' house.
This is my motherfucking podcast. But yeah, I think I'm at that stage in my life where like my job is I don't say boring me, but I think there are a lot of factors obviously involved. There is the fact that, you know, although for my team it isn't like a thing for us to go back to the office, but you know, there is a whole thing of like, oh no, you know, eventually we need to go back to the office, and I'm just like, child,
why?
I just don't know either.
Why? There's no need.
I don't get it.
There's absolutely no need. Like, are you going to increase my salary so that I can cover the costs of having to go into the office? Because you haven't increased it.
No.
Like, I don't understand. But you know what? I'm so happy.
Yeah.
that you have other options.
Definitely. No, definitely. I mean, considering what's going on with the economy, I mean, we're all feeling it. We're all feeling that pinch, from petrol to food to, you know, just all sorts of things. And, you know, obviously you want to try your best to downgrade, but even then, like, what the fuck am I downgrading?
What is downgrading? Like, we're basically all just surviving. So
literally.
I don't like. There are so many aspects that are unfulfilled financially. Like there's so many things where you're like, okay, I can't wait until I'm at a certain point in my life so that I can enjoy certain things without having to stress about having to budget for them or constantly having to allocate money that I know is gonna lead to me not having money for something else. So when we're downgrading, that means what? We're just gonna eat and sleep. But also, like, it means we're gonna downgrade the food that we're eating because food is expensive right now.
Yeah, I think that's like my biggest frustration. I mean, I've seen people sort of talking about, you know, how are we sort of downgrading and whatnot, and I'm just like, I don't know. That it's to me, it doesn't make any sense, because I'm like, when I look at sort of my spending, I can see that, okay, even when I'm not sort of ordering out, I spend it on food. I spend it on food, and I'm like,
all of it.
Yeah,
all
and
of
I'm like,
it.
am I supposed to stop eating? Like, no, I don't want to stop eating. So it's tough. I mean, the most I've done is really just get rid of one subscription that was for Focus Lock. It's an app that I use to sort of like get rid of all my apps when I'm like concentrating, if I'm concentrating or if I want to sleep without, you know, worrying about being on social media or whatever. You know, that's something I purposefully spent money on, because obviously I need that, because every day I'm working on my thesis. So you need something like that. But also
now, it's like now you must deprive yourself of tools that are essential to you completing something in an efficient manner. Like, that's not fair.
It's so annoying.
That's not fair.
So like, annoying.
I had this idea of downgrading. But anyway, speaking about downgrading, I don't know if it's downgrading, but some people might consider it. Today we are speaking about navigating life, I guess, post a friendship breakup, right? I've had so many of those. So many. So many.
Listen.
I'm an expert in this field.
you know what's up. But you know
what the weirdest thing is, I was thinking the other day, every single one has been a result of me setting boundaries in terms of how friends treat me in relation to their partners.
Yes.
Every single friend that I am no longer friends with, it has to do with them and a partner. Yeah. Like, that to me is wild.
Right? Like when
most times it's an abusive partner, wildly enough.
Yeah, and I mean, when we speak about how, you know, I mean, we've spoken about these hierarchies and, you know, all these things. When we speak about these things, it's one thing to speak about them. When you like experience it, you're just
when you experience them, dog.
You're like, oh,
when you experience them.
Yo, it really is a different situation.
So yeah, man, I don't know. Like you were sharing with me an experience where something has happened to a friend.
Yes.
And this is a friend that obviously, I think a lot of people don't compartmentalize, or maybe when we were younger, we didn't compartmentalize as much as we do now.
Yeah.
Or maybe whatever the situation is, but some of us, our parents, you know, become friends with our friends.
Yeah.
And a parent notifies you that something tragic has happened in somebody's life that used to be a friend, and the parent doesn't have full context of the relationship in its current state. The relationship that you have with a friend in its current state. And it's like, how do you respond to that? Do you explain the current situation to the parent?
Yeah.
Do you actually reach out to the friend or the ex-friend, because a part of you does feel a level of compassion still?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, right? It's like, I think the first hectic friendship breakup that I had, I spent so much time trying to convince myself that I didn't care about the person, and that was actually a lie.
Yeah.
Because it was like I lost out on a best friend, and everyone else in the friendship circle wasn't that close to that person, but it almost felt like there was this expectation that must cut off this person, and there's no positive feelings that can exist about them, like going forward, you know. So, and like we must erase any other experience, which is a very weird thing that we expect from each other, right? Once something happens, because it's like those things happened, they're in your brain, they're not just gonna go away instantly, and they happened over a period of time. So one singular event isn't going to erase them. That still doesn't mean that gaslight people who might have negative experiences with the person and all of that, but the expectation that after taking that decision that I'm no longer friends with this person, anything positive that you might have felt about them will disappear instantly is not real.
Not at all.
It's a very weird expectation. So it's like when something tragic then happens to their friend, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, how do you move?
No, like that's literally been...
man.
That has literally been my my sort of conundrum over the past couple of days. Like Sniper said, you know, I got some news about a friend's about something that happened in a friend's sort of life, or former friend's life. And you know, I think, you know, my dad was sort of informing me on something like, oh, that's your friend, you know, maybe just in case you might not hear from them, this might be the case, and maybe you can reach out. And I was just like, I mean, the minute my dad told me, I felt compelled to be like, you know what, I really do need to reach out to this person. Like, that was the very first sort of impulse that I felt. And I mean, you know, when I think about sort of how we fell out, it wasn't necessarily the best sort of falling out, I'll tell you that. It was actually very, very wild. And but you know, me being me, I just kind of didn't really feel much if at all, you know. I wasn't really like, oh my God, I feel so bad, because I still feel like it had to happen. It happened for a reason.
It had to happen. Yes.
Yeah, it happened for a reason.
And sometimes that's the case.
Yeah. You know, it really, really happened for a reason, and it had to happen. I don't think there was going to be any other way. So yeah, I think I've kind of been sitting with myself and like wondering, what is it that I can do, or what I can say, or how I can say it. I don't know.
Like, I feel like I've had a former friend reach out to me after something tragic has happened. And at that moment you appreciate it, but then like I don't know, it can go both ways. Like, it can be, oh, you're triggering me, depending on how they received the ending of the friendship. Can be like, oh, now you're just like triggering me at the worst time. Like, how dare this bitch try to talk to me right now, or like use this as an opportunity to talk to me. Or it can be, oh wow, that's so thoughtful of you, that regardless of everything that's happened between us, you know that I need these words right now. But then at the same time, I'll be like, how dare you think that these words are going to mean anything just because they're coming from you? Do you get me? I have lots of people telling me these words as well, you know? So it's a weird one because of all those things. So it's kind of like when you realize in any relationship that no longer exists, when you realize that, oh my gosh, I was wrong, like you have to weigh, am I in this wrongness willing to deal with how the other person is going to receive me? Because right now, acknowledging that I'm wrong to them is not necessarily always going to be about them receiving the apology that they deserve, or about them receiving the closure that they want. Sometimes it's very much ego, like, I'm feeling so shit about this. Let me go express this thing to this person.
Yes.
God, you're meeting this person at a place where they're like, I don't give a fuck about this anymore. Why are you bringing it up? Or why are you even talking to me? I don't want to hear from you. So it's like you have to be ready to receive whatever side of the thing that they might give you. So I don't know.
Yeah. And I think that's why I'm taking so long to even send the thing, you know. I hadn't had this person's number because I lost a few of my numbers, and I think they changed their number as well, so I had to ask someone else for their number. And you know, I think since receiving it, I've just been like, oh shit, you know, like literally those are the questions that I'm sort of asking myself, like, does this person even care? Damn, you know, like, is this something that will even touch them in any way? Is it about me? Like, why should I reach out? Yeah, why should I reach out? But
also, did that other person ask them, like, before they gave you the number? Because could mean that they're sitting there waiting.
Oh shit, I actually don't know. I should have asked. I need to ask. I think I'm gonna ask, because I'm yeah, like I really am just sort of sitting there like, you know, like, does this person even care? One, is it something that I should do? You know,
I don't know. I'm very like, I'm not a forgiving person.
Yeah.
And I don't expect other people to forgive me. I struggle with forgiveness a lot. I don't want to find myself in, I tried, I think last year or the year before last year, I tried to forgive someone and it didn't work. Like, I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know, maybe I'm emotionally immature, but there's certain guardrails that I feel like you need to put up between becoming abusive, between yourself and becoming abusive. And I think for me, I still haven't found an aspect of forgiveness that is truly selfless and completely is able to completely move past a thing to the point where you don't bring it up or you don't use it in a way that could shift a power dynamic in a relationship. So because of that, like a great grievance or anything that makes me mistrust someone or feel like someone doesn't have my best interests at heart, or feel like actually this person has been shortchanging me for a very long time, I can't move past shit like that. So I wouldn't want a text from someone that I feel like has done that to me, or someone I've done that to. Like, I know personally, I think it takes quite a lot for me to get to a point where I'm like, actually, I'm done with this person. So I know personally that once I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. So me, if I got that text, I'd be like, this bitch, or I probably wouldn't even respond.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't respond. But don't let that deter you. Some people out there go to church, I think, know how to forgive. I skipped that lesson. I skipped it.
I feel like it's I struggled because, you know, obviously there was no like sit down to be like, okay, what happened? And not even in the sense of what happened so we can repair, right? Like I don't just even think it's something I'd want. Like,
let's be clear.
Yes, let's be clear and say, okay, you know, this is the falling out and it happened like this. And obviously, like I said, it happened in a very nasty way. Like, you know, there was a separation, and you know, because this person was, you know, not even, I can't even say distant. Distant isn't even the term anymore. Just sort of not present at all. And obviously, like, they weren't because of life. Life was definitely happening, but the problem was, you know, there were other aspects in there. You know, life is happening to you, and you're using people. You know, now you're using people. Or, you know, like how when we talk about how, you know, people in abusive relationships can become very self-centered. And in turn,
which is what I've experienced, right?
Yes, yeah.
I think you've witnessed that. I think we've both experienced it.
Absolutely.
Where now you guys become the bad guys.
Yes.
While trying to be there for someone, and it's not necessarily to say you don't understand that an abusive relationship can force someone to behave like that. But when you know someone is empowered with the tools and they've acknowledged certain things and they still continue to show you that actually you guys don't matter in a way that then becomes abusive to you as well, it's like, look.
You see, exactly. So it was one of those situations where we were like, I was just like, surely not, you know. But unfortunately, that you know,
it's not always refined.
Yes, it was very snacks, you know, like literally, like you know when you text the wrong group, that type of snacks. Like you think you're sending it to the other group until you send it to the group with that person in it.
You know, the fact that there was another group is a sign that things were already shaky.
Yeah, no, like, definitely. It was just a matter of time.
That things are already shaky.
It was definitely just a matter of time. And I mean, when I look at the sort of the dynamic that we had, you know, avoidance was definitely like a thing. As a collective, not just me and this person, but just as a collective. We're very
but also when you're much younger, it's like you know what, at the same time I still feel like people will weaponize avoidance because they might be very vocal about things, right? But at the same time, it's like when you're bringing things up all the time, does it never ever in your head, does it never ever register that this other person might actually also have grievances with you, but they're giving you the benefit of the doubt or whatever? Do you get me? Like there's that element as well, because we always go hard and heavy on people and like, oh, they're so avoidant, this. But other people can be very manipulative with always laying their cards on the table, because hi man, I don't understand, but in your head, where's that thing that says, okay, let me ask this person, is there anything that they would like to share? Sometimes, without having anything to say, myself. Like without having any complaints, let me ask sometimes.
I'll make an example. Like this person would literally, let's say, you know, let's say you need to go shopping for our new host. And you ask for a lift from me, like, hey girl, like, can you take me to this place? And so, you know, I do, and we go there, and I take you there, and I stay there with you, and then I bring you back. And that was pretty much the function of the relationship. Someone has to do something for you.
Oh no,
we don't hang out.
In order
there's
for
no
us
hanging
to
out. Yeah, there's no hanging out.
No,
there is no talking. Not even talking via text. The only talking via text we do is literally, hey, can I have a lift to this? Can I do this? Can you please help me with this? That's literally it. And so obviously, like, I had checked out already, so I wasn't really on the receiving end of that. But I mean, by association, I was, because, you know, I lived across the road from my best friend, and, you know, she was there often, but also, like I said, often from a place of she needed transport to such and such a place, you know, like maybe she'd take the train and then she'd go to such and such a place with our friend, and at no point had she ever stepped foot in my apartment. Like, I mean, I can't remember when we fell out. We fell out, it must have been mid-year or like autumn vibes. Not even, actually, it was actually like around before my birthday. So August, this person had not set foot inside my apartment in what, 8 months, 9 months, something like that. And I'd been living there
But you lived next door.
Yeah, I lived right there. Or I lived right next door. Someone she was always receiving help from, or someone she reached out for. And so it's just like things like that, you know. Obviously, I'm not trying to air this person out. I hope they don't listen, please.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to air. I'm just
sort of. If they listen.
Yeah, it would be really awkward. I mean, I still stick by what I'm saying, but you know, it would be very awkward. But still, like, it was just so. You know, for me, it only felt right to check out. But it was funny because, you know, over the years, like, something would happen and I'd think about this person, but still not feel compelled to reach out. their birthday comes up,
naturally,
and I think about it, I'm like, oh my god, this is that person's birthday, because I mean, we're friends for 100 years. Of course I'm gonna think since high school, of course I'm gonna think about those types of things. I also hope my blinds are not being, hopefully you guys don't hear it, because the speaker, this microphone,
hey man, it's a part of life. It's a part of life.
Y'all can hear the terrain. It's windy out here in Cape Town, but anyway, so I think I've been sort of battling with that, where I'm like, for one, the reaching out isn't about me, because naturally when my dad told me, I felt bad, but was it empathy, or was it from a place of duty? Like, did I feel like,
yes.
I have to do this thing, like it's a must, because that's something that you're taught you have to do, or was it, oh my god, this person is probably devastated, maybe a
but
word
my thing
or
is
two.
like,
yeah,
they've survived all these years without your
without
words,
me,
and other things have
exactly.
happened. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong in this one, but like, damn, I think sometimes we want to show up, like, we have, our brains have, or we have been programmed to think that we need to show up in a certain way for people, but sometimes it's very much like, why do we think our words mean so much? Like, in the greater scheme of everything, when this person has been living without them for so long. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Like,
especially if the last thing, the way things ended was like on that note, in that way.
Yeah.
We don't know how she's been feeling all of these years,
Yeah, and I mean, it's which is wild, because also it's like, obviously we don't know how she's been feeling all these years and how she's been processing it. I've still been sticking to my guns. I'm just like, I don't give a fuck, about how it ended. If I would end it like that, I'd end it like that again. I mean, naturally, obviously, it would be better to just be like, listen, you aren't a good friend, and I don't think we should be friends anymore, rather. But I mean, considering the time, it's like, oh well, we're gonna end like that, and that's on period. So I definitely am like, I agree with you, because I'd probably feel the same. I think, although personally, I would feel touched. I won't lie, like in a, oh, okay, well, thank you. But I probably would just end it there. I wouldn't take it any further than that. Like, I wouldn't be like, thank you, how are you doing? Whatever. Nah, I'd just be like, oh, I wouldn't even respond, actually. Well, actually wouldn't even respond.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Would you be ready for a thank you, how are you doing? Like, where would that put you?
No.
You see.
I don't want that. I do not want that. I don't want, that's a good question. Because I actually don't want... I just don't see where reconnection could just come in, how it could come in. And that's why I was like, I just want to send a generic message, like one of those generic, like those just super generic messages, but as long as it sends the message across. But obviously, like, if I've been thinking about it from Saturday until now, I don't know if I'm actually gonna do it, because I definitely have been sitting on it for a minute at this point. So guys, I don't know, maybe by the time this
Mixo
drops,
needs help, guys.
Please, this time it's not about you guys getting the help, it's about me getting the help. Okay, y'all are helping me this time. If any of you have been in sort of these types of situations, please let me know. But I'm trying to think, me as a friend,
it's actually interesting. You as a friend?
I'm saying, like, if it was me, I mean, I've had that type of situation, but with former romantic partners, where something happened and they reached out, but
did things end really, really badly?
Yes. But still, like, they reached out anyway. I don't know how they found out some of these things, but, they reach out and like, oh my God, I heard that this happened, and, whatever. And I mean, I mean, maybe it's because I'm a softie. Like, I think, I don't know, like, I am, it irks me sometimes, but forgiveness, I mean, obviously, I definitely struggle with forgiveness. But I always just end up just doing it.
Moving past
these things, because, after a while, it's just like, and it's not even from a place of, no, I don't want to hold on to these things. Listen, I'm gonna hold on to whatever I'm gonna hold on to for as long as I want to, because I can, but I've been thinking a lot about, extending grace to people who have wronged us, and people extending grace to us for wronging them. I've been thinking about that a lot, and in some cases I have been practicing it. And, in some instances, obviously, like, it worked out pretty well, but not even necessarily in a what is it, like we're gonna get back together, or we're gonna rekindle things.
Yes.
So in some instances that was the case,
just that.
Yeah. In some instances, like, that was the case, where it was like, actually, you know what? Let's reconnect and see what happens. And I mean, it's worked out pretty well. Like, it's a very small sample size. But yeah, like, I think I've been thinking a lot over the past year about, grace and forgiveness and extending that, and what it takes from me and what it gives to the other person, and vice versa. Obviously, like, my thoughts are very incomplete about that. So far, I've just been sort of trying it out where I feel it's right. Obviously, like, I don't just apply it to just anybody, like, anyway, at the end of the day, I still discern on, okay, this is what the situation was with this person. At the time, this is what happened, this is where they were, and this is what they did, if that's the case. And maybe this is how I felt, and I felt extremely hurt. Obviously, I've let it go by now. Like, if it was a couple of years ago, I've definitely let it go. It's just not something I think about. But, obviously, you're like, naturally, like, especially in a lot of situations, you're gonna be like, how... okay, I bring them back into my life. How are they gonna fuck it up again?
How are we gonna? Yes.
Yeah.
And also,
like,
how do we move from that place that we were in? Because it was very hurtful that you did not care about me. You had not been to my place. You were only interacting with us on a need basis. Like, things like that. Like, I think this is very interesting because I had 2 tragic incidents happen after, like, a friendship breakup that was very weird. Like, literally woke up with all of our food outside of the fridge.
Hey, son.
Lived with this person. They had, like, a very messed up partner. They weren't even there when it happened, but for me it was a matter of, for your partner to feel empowered enough to do this to people that you supposedly care about, it says a lot. And there had been other things that the partner had done and had said before, and I just did not feel protected as a friend, And literally probably a week after that incident and me moving out and blocking her and the partner everywhere, my grandmother died. And a lot of my friends know all of my family, and that person never reached out, and it was like a week, literally like a week, and that for me was like, oh, okay, this is actually really real. Like, this is very, very real. So, like, hey man, I don't know, you just roll with the punches, and you move.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you really just have to be discerning, and also you must look at this person. Let's say you do decide to let them back in. You have to look at this person and be like, okay, back then they were like this. Maybe when they're in romantic, like how you were saying that with this friend. Every time they were with a partner, their friends would suffer, in a sense.
Literally.
Yeah, and so, then you have to go, okay, is this something that this person has dealt with? And unfortunately, that comes with that very difficult conversation. And I don't think a lot of us actually, when we do decide to bring people back into our lives, we don't actually go back and say, so where we last left off, this and this happened.
This was, yes.
This is what went down. What have you done since then?
I feel like I don't know if it's my problem, but I feel like I shouldn't have to negotiate a level of protection in a relationship. Like I think that isn't something that should be negotiated. That consideration is something that you need to ask for. Do you get me? Like that is a weird thing for me, because I feel like no matter what relationship you're in, there shouldn't be a very clear hierarchy.
Yes.
And once a pattern has been established, it becomes very difficult to now feel like you must then go beg or go negotiate for, moving forward, can I be considered?
Especially for something so recent. Like I would never at any point in time tell you, like, no, have this conversation with this person, because it come on, like, it was repeated too many times, and it just kept getting severe and severe, and there's no reason for you, like you said, there's no reason for you to have to negotiate protection, in these things. I think the first time, you handled it just fine. And unfortunately you did not know that a second time would come. You had no idea. You were just like, my friend was in this situation, and I
don't even want to bring it up with him.
Exactly. It's a sensitive situation,
because you give a person give a person the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly, because like that you acknowledge that they're in an abusive situation, and especially in the beginning, like I'm saying, you're not going to go, this person will do it again. No. In fact, with the way it works, because it's like, okay, I'm going to go to therapy, I'm going to do this and that, you absolutely assume that this person is actually just going to change their ways, or it's never going to happen again. And that's that. Right. Especially in this day and age where we have no problem throwing around, I'm going to therapy or I'm going to do therapy. Naturally, you're going to be like, I guess, this person is trying, can't it, dog?
We're not honest with our therapists as
not
well.
Not at all. Exactly.
So it's very difficult to get help.
Exactly.
You can have access to help, but getting the actual help, I'm learning very much so that somebody can be in therapy and getting worse in terms of how they interact with others, because whatever they're saying there is positioning themselves as the one that's always getting done wrong. Do you get me? Like, or what? It's their understanding of the situations they keep finding themselves in, and our understandings of things isn't always the ultimate reality, because our interactions with others are not limited to our understanding.
Exactly.
So it becomes wild. It becomes wild.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think at the end of the day, and I'm always going to say this, we really just have to be discerning. And I've been saying this a lot recently, actually, because when we are put in very, like, I mean, this is maybe a little bit of a deviation from what we've been speaking about, but when we find ourselves in very, like, desperate situations. So I'm gonna, in this case, I'm gonna talk about COVID, how we're in lockdown and how it was a very emergency sort of type situation for a while. You can find yourself very desperate, and naturally you're gonna wanna, like, seek out any and everything that can help. Oh my God, it's loud. That can help you out of that situation. And so now that we are facing these sort of, like, really tough economic times, we're once again back there, where there's a certain level of desperation that's going around, and there are certain people that know that there are a lot of people who are desperate, and therefore they are preying on them. And so, you know, obviously, like, you know, I think now more than ever, we definitely have to be discerning. Like, we definitely have to be like,
yes.
you know, we have to cover our bases. We have to cover our grounds, which is tough because naturally you just want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And also, you know, when you're in the thick of things, like, I don't know if you're really there, you know, and so I'm like, you know what, let me actually check. Let me do my checks and balances. When you're in a desperate situation, or when things are bad, when you're extremely lonely, and a man shows up or someone shows up and they're like, listen, I can be there for you, and it's only a setup for
it goes back
fuck shit.
It goes back to Manera, right? Like that kind of situation where you're willing to risk it all, knowing that like at some point this is going to come out. At some point, the shit is going to start smelling, but you're willing to sit in it just to enjoy for the moments before it does. Like, ish, guys, it goes back to that chat about loneliness even.
Hey, dog,
goes back to that chat about loneliness.
Exactly. And so, you know, I also don't want to, you know, sort of taking it back to this person, not to say that they're desperate for my, you know, my comfort, or, you know, they're desperate for anything that I might have to say to them or whatever. Not at all. But, you know, I don't want them to be in a situation where it's like, oh my God, this person has reached out to me, and you know, oh, I don't know, like now they find themselves kind of, you know, like now they kind of feel compelled to like, maybe, you know, let's reconnect. Meanwhile, I'm on the other end. I don't want that. You know, I'm just reaching out.
Yeah, you need to think of a lot of things.
Yeah, like I'm just reaching out because you know, obviously, like I feel incredibly, you know, sore for them. Because I understand, you know, the situation. I may not
sometimes
know
it's also like, why can't we sit with our soreness, like,
and leave it at that?
What value is in the other person knowing that somebody that they cut ties with 6-8 years ago is sore about something that is naturally sore and everyone is sore about? Like, there's that as well, but at the same time, it might mean something completely different to her.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm interested in finding out how this, if you do, how this ends up. Like, if she does say, actually, I've been thinking about you, or if she just says thank you, or if she doesn't respond.
Yeah. I mean, I'm mostly hoping she just doesn't respond. Like, that is like but you see now I'm saying I hope she doesn't respond, but at the same time I'm like, I hope you know she feels supported. What the fuck do I want? You see,
so that right there is our next topic. Our next topic. What is comforting another? What is comforting another? I think we can actually end off there because we've been talking for some time.
We've been talking for a minute, child, before Zoom kicks us out. But yeah, guys.
Also,
go ahead.
No. I was gonna say also, we need to get responses on this. I don't know where I think Mixo send them to me when people answer. Yes. But how would you handle these situations? What have you done in the past? Because I feel like this is not a unique situation. This is something that a lot of us have had to deal with. I call it cold-hearted. Man, I ain't finna say nothing. I had this one ex-friend literally be like, my mom had just died and they were in like a messy relationship as well. I swear, guys, it's always people in
one thing
like
about
Mixo, you can I will be put through it because of anyway, so they literally like, people are going like, they were like, I don't know who said going, but they said something snarky about my mom dying, and I was like, And then their mom died, and I was like, So I'm very dark. I'm very, very dark. So yeah, don't expect, like, I struggle with forgiveness, guys. I struggle with forgiveness. So yeah, as you know,
yes, I'm gonna
approach.
I'm gonna set up I think on Anchor we can do that thing of what is it? Of allowing people to respond. But I'm gonna play around with it. If you would like to respond, I would advise you to get Anchor. It's free. You don't have to subscribe. You just need data. And then, you know, we'll navigate that whole thing. If you want to know how to do it, just contact me on our Twitters and our Instagrams and on email, on YouTube and whatnot. But also you can just comment, you can tweet us, you can send us a message on IG. Hopefully I see it. Some of you definitely move very wild. I got a very wild DM from one of you, but I'm not gonna go anywhere beyond that. But I got a very wild DM from one of you. It was definitely a man. I need you to stop that. Have some manners. First of all, you didn't even say hi. I'm really not that type of person. I'm not the type of person who's like, no, you know, you must come to me with respect. I really don't care about that, right? Like, it's just courtesy, you know, like anytime you address people, obviously you're going to go greetings, hi, dear, whoever. But for you to just be like, so I'm doing, hi bo, naledi. No, stop
guys,
that thing.
I get those at work, bro. People are wild.
Bro.
Like, people are wild.
Yeah, no.
People are wild.
So,
but anyway,
yes, guys,
save
thank
the
you
wildness
so much
for the streets.
Yes, thank you so much for another episode. We are going to close it at that. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, you know that whole thing. You know how it is.
All those things, all those good things,
guys.
all those nice things.
I need your advice. I need your advice.
Positive vibrations, please.
Yes, especially that.
Please.
All right, guys. Thank you.
But yes, share your advice. Bye.
Bye.